Good afternoon. You are in time for the Lunchtime News. A very warm welcome to the broadcast. My name is Irene Mchuma Odem. On sign language interpretation, we have Anne Wangeshi. Let's interact on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Our top focus this afternoon: African voices must be heard to ensure sustainable reparatory justice for victims of historical and colonial injustices. This was the message by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who is representing President William Ruto at the Reparations Conference in Accra, Ghana. Mudavadi called on African countries to set up legal grounds for reparations, saying the continent should explore different models of reparatory justice to ensure timely compensation. Additionally, he expressed the country's support for the establishment of an African Committee of Experts on Reparations for the purpose of developing a common African position on reparations.
I therefore make a clarion call on our academia. Help us dig the truth through in-depth research. This will aid us move away from calibrated literature that perpetuates untruth. Kenya supports the effort to establish a sustainable action plan for reparatory justice process for the victims of historical and colonial injustices in the spirit of a united Africa. We therefore call for unity and collaboration among Africans, peoples of African descent in the diaspora, and other stakeholders through the establishment of an African-Caribbean joint mechanism on reparatory justice.
Community health volunteers in Kilifi County have urged the government to make diabetes treatment free in the country. They noted that diabetes treatment is too expensive and out of reach to many households, which in return has led to numerous amputations and deaths.
Speaking at the Alaskan grounds in Malindi town during celebrations to mark this year's World Diabetes Day, the community health volunteers urged the government to handle diabetes the same way like tuberculosis and HIV.
Ugonjwa wa kansa na magonjwa yale mengine sugu ulivyochukuliwa, hii pia ichukuliwe hivyo. Mikakati ifanywe ya watu kuhamasishwa wakajipime.
They lamented that many diabetic patients had defaulted on treatment following an increase in consultation fees in public health facilities.
Wagonjwa sukari kuna wengine hata hawatoki kwa nyumba. Wazee ambao pengine hata wale wanawategemea hawako. Hizo dawa kununua ni changamoto. Hizo changamoto zinafanya tunapata defaulters wengi. Wa defaulters wakiwa wengi hospitalini, sisi HIV ndio tunalaumiwa.
Meanwhile, in Kakamega County Director Medical Services Stephen Wandei has revealed that 4 out of 10 people have diabetes in the area, with many being ignorant of their status.
Diabetes, what is now said that in Kenya, 1 in 2 persons living with diabetes don't know they have diabetes.
Most of our people are either pre-hypertensive or pre-diabetic. They do not know. That's why we have the CHPs here, so that we also engage with them and refresh them when they go to the community. How do they engage our people, even as they take their blood pressures, even as they take their sugars?
Kenyans have been urged to ensure that they eat balanced diet and enroll themselves in health insurance schemes to be able to manage the cost of treatment for diabetes and other chronic diseases. Jacqueline Masharia for Lunchtime News.
Hundreds of residents from Kilifi County turned up for this year's World Cleanup Week. The week's event brings together volunteers and partners worldwide to rid the planet of trash by cleaning up litter and mismanagement waste from water catchment areas. Public Health Department in Kilifi County led the celebrations at Malindi Town, with the county government calling on the locals to maintain high public hygiene.
This week we will be having several activities that are geared to empowering the communities to come up with sanitation facilities, that they can afford and that they can use, and more so to remove the myths and beliefs that are attached to use of sanitation facilities.
Kwa hiyo watu waweke katika yale mapipa ambayo wamepatiwa, ili takataka zile zichukuliwe zikawekwe pale mahali ambapo ni safi. Tusitupe takataka hovyo.
The management of Mother Tanya Hospital, which was shut down by the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council yesterday due to alleged negligence cases, attributes the move to business rivalry. The hospital's assistant proprietor, Mercy Kirito Mutegi, however, said the health facility faced 2 tragic cases but handled them in a professional way. She further said that the hospital located at Nairobi's Kawangware area has been in operation for 30 years without issues. Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council said that the hospital could reopen if it complies with the necessary health standards.
Akasa mtoto akakufa, na yeye vile tuliona alipata PPH, tukamkumbisha Kenyatta. Kukimbisa Kenyatta wakanjaribu kumurisa state, haikuwezekana.
Normally facilities comply to standards and we provide annual licenses every year for their continued operations. If we do not get any complaints from the persons receiving services, and if during our regular compliance visits they are found to be complying, then we allow them to continue.
Human rights activists have faulted the continued eviction of squatters at Chepchoina settlement scheme in Trans Nzoia County. The squatters who were allocated the 5-acre piece of land in 1994 and 1997 are decrying the alleged double allocation of land as well as harassment. They are now calling on the government to come up with a permanent solution to the perennial tussle.
The squatters from the Pokot, Turkana, Luya and Saboat communities claim they were allocated the 5-acre piece of land at the scheme under the Agricultural Development Corporation. The allocation is said to have been made by the late President Daniel Arap Moi between 1994 and 1997. However, the fate of the squatters has continued to hang in the balance over the years as they face constant evictions.
Ilipofika mwaka wa 2021 mwezi wa 3 tarehe 10, wakakuja kufurusha manyumba ya watu na wakabomoa bila kujali ya kwamba yule mtu ambaye anaishi hapo ataenda wapi. Vitu mingi sana iliharibika. Kwanza tulikuwa wakulima, tena wakulima wale hodari. Kuna wengi walikuwa na pesa kwa nyumba, lakini kwa sababu waliileta kreda ya kubomoa hiyo nyumba, kuna pesa mingi sana ambapo zilifunikwa kwa nyumba. Mimi mwenyewe nilipoteza wanambuzi wangu 7 ambao walikuwa kwa nyumba.
Mpaka saa hizi tuko tunahangaika, tuna makao, tuna penye tunaenda. Tuko kwa hema hapo, katika tunakaa kwa mahema hapo. Kwa hiyo mwaka 2 mwaka 3 yenye imepita.
They are accusing corrupt individuals for their wars, saying that their allotment letters have since been given to other people.
Kama kuna watu ambao wanaweza toka nje wanakuja kuwa beneficiary ya shamba ya mwenye alienda akatoa fisiki akalima, na kuna mtu anakuja anakuambia hii shamba mahali unaishi ni mahali pa namba yangu. Nilishangaa hata mwenye alikuja kwa shamba yangu mimi mwenyewe ya mzazi wangu ni mtu ambaye anatembea na gari.
So far, they have been evicted from 12 villages, among them Kamten, Kaboto, Kambimawe and Nanimit. The government has been urged to intervene to end the tussle.
Na tunauliza kwamba serikali ya taifa ya Kenya ichukue hatua na kuangalia haya these illegalities that are happening in Chepchoina, because people's life is at stake. Maisha ya watoto iko kwa stake. Kuna watoto ambao wamekaa kwa camp kuishi kwa manyumba ya makaratasi.
Mabwenyenye ndio wanakuja na makari kubwa. Kama sasa mwenye anachukua hiyo 15 acres ya mtu. Kama wengine sasa wanakuja na tractor kama vile inasemekana analima eka 100. Hasla atapata wapi pesa kulima nini eka 100?
Nancy Okwari, Lunchtime News.
The Science Granting Council Initiative Annual Forum and Global Research Council Sub-Sahara Africa Regional Meeting has kicked off in the county of Mombasa. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the National Research Fund, Professor Dixon Andala, the conference provides a platform to engage in high-level discussions on various science, technology, and innovations. At the same time, he added that the forum will lead to establishing of coordinated and well-aligned research and development plans and priorities to the national agenda and organizational strategies, as well as sustainable science for society. The forum brings together participants from 17 African countries, United States, United Kingdom, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Brazil.
This forum, the SGCI, achieves the following. Number one, it supports and strengthens the voices and views of participating SGCs, and more importantly, as NRF Kenya, this event is magnificent for the sole reason we've been advocating the role of research to policy, role of research towards innovation, that is research to commercialization. And when we voice and talk more about research, the government of the day will be able to support our initiative of knowledge-driven economy. Similarly, the SGCI contributes towards the implementation of the STISA 2024. For those who are aware, we are actually 1 year shy away from achieving the STISA 2024. It similarly provides a platform for sharing information, experiences, and lessons amongst the SGCs.
Residents of Garbatura in Isiolo County are set to receive their first ever land ownership documents after the land adjudication and titling process kicked off in the region. The initiative aims to survey all parcels of land within a 5 square kilometer radius at Garbatula town's central point.
In a meeting held in Garbatula town, local landowners elected 13-member committee to collaborate with the Ministry of Lands surveyors. Isiolo County Lands Chief Executive Committee member Yusuf Dahir estimated the process would take up to 21 days, targeting approximately 7,000 land parcels.
Now the team is on the ground. They will be here for the budgeted day of 21 days to do this exercise, and we intend actually to do adjudication in the gazetted 5-kilometer area, which was gazetted, and capture all the plots within this area and do adjudication.
Isiolo Land Adjudication and Settlement Officer Jafet Mutiso called for the public's cooperation as the newly elected committee is expected to work closely with the Ministry of Lands.
But they were appointed 13 of them. They will form the Land Adjudication Committee, who will hear land complaints from landowners and who will be given the power to determine the rightful owner.
Area elders, including former Chief Haj Somo and Dubakara, lauded the initiative.
Sasa sisi hatutaki fitina ya wanasiasa kuingilia hii kitu, na hatuwezi kubali tena kukosa title kwa sababu ya fitina ya wanasiasa.
Hakika tumefurahi hii jambo, tumetafuta maka mingi kutoka mimi ni chief mpaka leo. Hata wakati mwingine ndio kitakuja najaribu kufanya, lakini watu wa siasa waliingia nafanya maneno mingi.
Once completed, the process will extend to other towns like Kina, Sericho and Merti, allowing landowners to secure vital title deeds.
Tula is the start. We intend to do the other areas which has been gazetted. I think probably once we finish with Garbatula, we move to the other sections. But this is a start for this area of Isiolo South, and we intend to do more.
Police from Kiambu Police Station are probing an incident in which an individual who allegedly posed as a patient at the Kiambu Level 5 hospital to steal from unsuspecting patients. The individual in question stole money from a patient that had received funds from his SACCO but was too ill to walk and shared his pain. This led to the demise of the man who was awaiting a colonoscopy, even as his family calls for justice.
At the Kiambu Level 5 hospital, the family of Julius Mwangi is in tears over the loss of its kin. Julius was admitted here and was set to undergo a colonoscopy that will cost the family 21,000 shillings, and they requested time to source for the funds. His SACCO came to his aid, channeling 11,000 shillings before disaster struck.
Sasa Saturday jioni ndio nilisikia hiyo pesa imetolewa. Nikakuja huku Sinjana. Tukajaribu kufuata hiyo kitu. Tumekuja na askari. Tukapata huyo mgonjwa amekufa. Oi. Na yule mwizi tunasikia kwa hapo ndani. Oi.
The family is now coming to terms with what it's calling foul play by an individual posing as a patient to take advantage of unsuspecting patients. The death of Julius raised questions on the integrity of the hospital staff, as other families reported similar cases.
Sasa ni kama amepara wagonjwa wengi juu analia, kuna wameibiwa 600, wengine wameibiwa simu, na huyo mtu wako tu hapo ndani anazunguka anajifanya ati anawasaidia. Kuna vitu zingine zinauma
Sasa daktari na wao huku wanasema hiyo kitu ilikuwa inaendelea, watu kama wewe unakuja unasema huyu mtu fulani anaambiwa ni huyu, lakini hawafuatilii.
Pesa ilitumwa, kijana akatoa pesa yote kabisa, akafuta message na akabandilisha pin.
Authorities are now being called upon to speedy their investigations and bring the alleged criminal to book. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
The Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife needs an extra 3.1 billion Kenya shillings to be able to compensate all the victims of injury from wildlife attacks of claims verified until 2020. Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua, who appeared before the Senate Wednesday morning, said the victims who were verified until the year 2020 required a total of 5.7 billion shillings to settle the compensation. The CS noted that already 908 million shillings has been paid off to victims this year, with only 1.1 billion shillings in the ministry's budget yet to settle claims. The CS also called on the Senate to come up with legislation that will enable snake bites victims get compensation after senators raised concern over increasing cases.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have a booklet here that has a list of the 900 million payment criteria by county and the various people who are paid. I'm planning to find through other sources an additional 1.5 billion. If Treasury agrees, we've written to them a letter, we've got some money sitting somewhere. If they agree to another additional 1.5 billion, that will bring us to 2.6 billion in this financial year to be able to pay people. We'll still have a shortfall of 3.1 billion that is not available. And that is just up to 2020. We're not talking about 2021, 2022, and up to date, 2023. So we are talking about, we may need an additional 2 billion in addition to the shortfall of 3.1 billion. So if this House can help us get another 5 billion, we'll be able to compensate everyone. I'm also changing the way the system is run to ensure there is a faster response system and also to ensure there isn't fraud.
Stakeholders in the agriculture sector have stressed on the need to strengthen community social groups engaged in self-economic empowerment at household level. The stakeholders recommended further assistance to the groups through access to credit facilities. Bomashoge Borabu CBO, which drew members from Bomashoge, Boochu, Bombaba areas of the constituency, aims at expanding the agribusiness. Dr. Geoffrey Otumu, the patron, said the group members involved in dairy, banana and vegetable production have succeeded to earn proceeds from the education of their children, among other family commitments.
Tunaleta wataalamu wale ambao wamehitimu katika sehemu mbalimbali za kilimo, wanawafunza, alafu baada ya miezi kadhaa tunaangalia, tunatembeleana kwa wakulima mbalimbali.
Tumewafunza jinsi ya kutumia teknolojia ya kisasa ikiwemo mbolea za NPK based fertilizers ambazo haziongezei makali kwenye mchanga.
Naomba kwamba serikali ya ugatuzi inapopata nafasi ya kuangalia vikundi iwasaidie.
More than 80% of police officers will be recruited directly from the National Youth Service. Speaking in Lamu West constituency, National Police Service Chairman Eliud Kinuthia announced that the police recruitment exercise is expected to take place early next year.
Vijana mkipata nafasi mjiunge na NYS, na hapa pia Lamu County mjiunge na NYS. 80% ya wale maafisa tutaajiri tutawapa kipaumbele vijana wetu ambao wamepata mafunzo ya National Youth Service.
Chinese path to modernization offers important lessons for nations, particularly in the developing world. This was the message by visiting senior Chinese diplomat Kwang Weiling, who is in Kenya to take stock of achievements made as a result of relations between the two countries. He says China has exhibited commitment to open up a broader path to development which other nations can benefit from by providing opportunities for cooperation, especially between Beijing and Africa.
Speaking during Hong Ting Forum organized by Shinua News Agency in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, Kwang Weiling, a member of the Public Diplomacy Consultation Committee of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, made a case for Chinese-style modernization, noting that China has over the years uniquely demonstrated that it cannot walk alone or seek to rise at the expense of others in her quest to attain development.
China and Africa are perfect partners for cooperation. I think both sides can do a lot by working together. And China wants to share its experience, development experience, so that some African countries can really take something from our experience.
Kwang, a former Chinese ambassador to Sierra Leone and head of the Chinese mission to the African Union, says the East Asian nation means well for the world, highlighting its open desire to promote political multipolarity, international multilateralism, cultural diversity, peaceful coexistence, dialogue based on equality among different civilizations, and a community with a shared future for mankind.
Internationally, we have to share our experience, our opportunities with the other countries, especially countries in Africa, so that Africa can really benefit from China's modernization, so that China and Africa can work together for more projects, so that Africa can also develop and achieve modernization at an early date.
The diplomat was categorical that China only seeks to contribute to world peace and stability and will continue to hold structured engagements with African countries.
It is my firm belief that without the rise of Africa, without the prosperity of Africa, we cannot go very far. I don't think that the world can really can be bold of a global modernization without the rise of Africa. I think that Africa is one of the most, also very crucial components of the world development. That is why I think China needs Africa as Africa needs China.
Beatrice Gatonyengetich, Lunchtime News.
Glad you're watching the Lunchtime News. We are taking our first commercial break. We'll be back with more news, including business and sports. Stay with us.
No, the money was there, and I haven't authorized any movements. Get out of this house!
What happened, Arturo? What is going on?
Our son, the successful businessman, has been cheating us all.
Wanted to help him to get the money back, and I sold a part of it to Carlos Molina.
What?
No one will help you because this time you're on your own.
And what do you know?
Person who put up the capital to buy the shares of Arturo was me.
I just heard that there's a fire spreading in the woods, and Danielle is out there in the hut. Everything is burning.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is one thing we can always count on: the power of compassion and generosity. Every day, families in Kenya face unimaginable challenges and hardships. They struggle to put food on the table, provide shelter for their loved ones, and access basic health care. But today, you have the power to make a difference. By just contributing 1 shilling and 50 cents from your airtime, your generosity can provide access to sanitary pads, nutritious food, clean water, education, and life-saving medical care to those who need it most. To support this cause, please tune in to your favorite radio station under the KBC umbrella for step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe. KBC Helping Hands. Together, we can make a difference and bring hope to those in need.
Ile tanki moja ndiye anaweka sio ya simi. Na narudi anaosha anaweka maji hapo.
Anaweka tena maji hapa.
Na kwa nini unalala?
Nifanye huko ndani juzi ya mku polisi.
Sasa unatupotezea wakati.
Mlipata hiyo maji ndio ilifanya mkao wa ponyo.
Hiyo maji ndio ilileta shida.
Kwa nini walikupali watu wakunywe uso ya watu?
Human faces ni choo, waste.
Oh, ni kisungu mmebadilisha sasa.
Mmebadilisha wapi?
Nashikilia uchumi ya Kenya. 75% of the GDP of the country anategemea mimi. Ukimwangalia anakaa tu kama exhaust anyway. Zura ukimwangalia watu matusi.
Mmenyamaza, siongei.
Hutaki kujitetea.
Sitaki.
Glad you're watching the Lunchtime News. Welcome back. Time for business, and we kick off from the county of Mombasa, where my colleague Regina Manyara is with the engineers again. Day 2. Regina, good afternoon. What is the latest updates that you have for us today?
Quite the day there. We started on a wet morning and it's still raining in the course of this particular day. But nonetheless, we're keeping track of the 30th IEK International Convention that enters its second day today, being the official opening date. And none other than Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was the chief guest earlier in the morning. And when he took to the podium, two things came out, is that we needed to increase professionalism within the engineering niche. And as such, plans are underway to have an executive engineering advisory council that is not only going to offer consultation services to government on what viable and key projects that it needs to undertake, but also keep track of what projects are underway and which engineers are actually working on this project. Maybe this coming in from the fact that over the last few months, days if you like, the engineering profession has been painted in bad light. Why? Collapsed buildings and such. But before we give you the overview of what has happened in the morning and also what we expect in the afternoon session, I'm joined by none other than engineer Dr. Johnson Matu, who is going to tell us as an member of the EBK, that is the regulator, what is your take in regard to, what happened this morning? Those who took to the stage talk about matters of engineering, given that you're talking about engineering a new world.
Thank you very much. The first thing I would like to do is to congratulate His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, for coming to grace the occasion. Indeed, it was a historic event for the Deputy President or Vice President of the Republic of Kenya coming to our convention. It has never happened, and we are also happy that the President himself had come to see us in June this year, and therefore it means that the government has recognized the role of the engineers, the role that they play in the economic development of this country. And that is very critical because we have not been quite visible for many years. But at the moment, we have a good visibility because the government has seen the importance of the engineers. So many people today talked about the engineering issues. First of all, the theme of the convention is basically that engineering a new world, and that's what they were talking about. And because we are faced with different challenges today, the issue of climate change is one major issue, and which cannot be ignored. And we as engineers have to come forward and very fast to ensure that the solutions that are needed are put forward. And we have to be a bit more innovative.
Now, I like that you have pointed out, matters of climate change, given that we've had quite the morning here, rainy showers and such, and we've had an issue with, traffic accessing Mombasa and such. But now, there's a question that the Deputy President has raised, the infiltration of this niche by quacks. He actually referred to them as quacks. Yeah. Now, with the setting up of this particular advisory council, do you think this is the direction to take to bring in a bit of professionalism?
Yes, indeed, because the moment this advisory council is established, then it means that the government will know exactly who are the real professionals in the field. And we shall be talking close to the government, to their ears. And there is nothing better than being close to the government, which actually is the one which helps us to enforce engineering. So it is a very good move, and it would help us to ensure that the quacks are thrown out of the industry. And there are quacks everywhere, even in the health industry, everywhere. But ours are even worse, because can you imagine a quack designing a building for you, constructing it, and within a short time the building is collapsing. And it collapses with fatalities, So it is quite dangerous, and therefore it is important that we handle this issue at that level, very high level.
Now, last but not least, we know we have a packed afternoon, 5 breakout sessions, among them where we're going to be discussing matters of infrastructure and transport. There's also been a call by the president of IEK to have a consideration to have an African engineers register. Your take as an engineer, what will this mean for local engineering?
Oh, yeah, that is a very good question because what it means is that the register for the African engineers is very useful because it will help us to have the mobility of engineers from our countries, whether it is Kenya, Uganda, whether it's South Africa. We are able to go across the borders and do good businesses outside there. And therefore it means our professionalism is recognized internationally within Africa. And as the Engineers Board of Kenya, we're even trying to ensure that we are globally recognized, so that if I come from here and I go to America or UK, I can be recognized as a serious engineer. Yeah.
Very well said. We have been speaking to engineer Dr. Johnson Matu there, a member of the Engineers Board of Kenya. That is a regulatory body when it comes to matters of engineering. Very well put, as he said, is that the regulator is not only just working at ensuring that those who are in the engineering profession get to practice locally, but with the Washington Accord, if it is approved, it means that engineers can not only just practice locally, but they can also practice their trade at an individual scale, opening at an international scale, opening up the sector, especially when it comes to job opportunities. We're going to be keeping track of this particular convention. In the afternoon, we have 5 breakout sessions. Among them that are going to be discussed is matters of energy, as well as transport, as well and water. We are expecting the permanent, the PS housing, that is Charles Hinga, to participate in these particular sessions. In the morning session, we had CS Transport Kipchumba Murkomen, who also took to the podium alongside Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Now, Irene, back to you.
Thank you, Regina. Regina Manyara giving us an update from Mombasa County. This as she attends an engineers forum down at the coast, one that is themed Engineering the World. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is expected to officiate today's event. In other news making headlines in the world of business, Nairobi Gate Industrial Park has launched the first special economic zone with a gazetted customs control area in East Africa. Principal Secretary, State Department for Investment Promotion, Abubakar Hassan, said the industrial park has created 434 direct and indirect jobs and is expected to generate at least 10,000 job opportunities as it progresses.
This consolidation will allow businesses operating from Nairobi Gate additional efficiencies, including a one-stop shop for regulatory agencies such as Kenya Revenue Authority, Kenya Ports Authority, and the Special Economic Zone Authority. So far, the developers of the Nairobi Gate Industrial Park have invested $40 million with a commitment to invest up to $160 million by the year 2035. The PS noted that the government is committed to developing and implementing investment policies and to coordinate the promotion of private investment into the Kenyan economy.
This initiative has already set aside 150,000 square feet of space dedicated to incubate small and medium-sized enterprise. Furthermore, the Customs Center aligns with our broader government policy of positioning Kenya as a logistics and distribution hub in the region. Dean
Shilo, Managing Director of Impact North SEZ, owner of Nairobi Gate Industrial Park, said the Special Economic Zone will provide additional value for businesses, stating that the Special Economic Zone is effectively an extension of Kenya's border for imports and exports.
We have 103 acres of gazetted SEZ customs area, which is the closest master plan developments to JKIA and the industrial area. We have successfully completed 37 mini units designed to incubate the small medium enterprises.
Edna Murungi for Lunchtime News.
Power generating company KenGen is set to invest in a solar energy plant which is expected to add 42 megawatts to the national power grid. The power generator has affirmed that their power plants are generating adequate energy to power the country amid the heavy rains pounding the country.
As the largest power producer in Kenya, generating up to 60% of electricity consumed in Kenya, KenGen is now seeking to venture into solar energy by constructing Kenya's first 40-megawatt peak floating grid-level solar plant.
Our pipeline going forward is on green energy, and I think you'll be seeing a lot of that on the hydros, on the geothermals. But at the same time, you're looking at exploring solar here in the Seven Forks, about 42 megawatts.
The project, funded by the German Development Bank, is set to be constructed on Kamburu Dam, which is one of the Seven Forks dams along River Tana, powering a 94.2 megawatt hydroelectric power station. The company has also refuted claims by a section of Kenyans that high water flows from Masinga Dam have led to floods in lower parts of River Tana. Eastern Hydro's acting manager, Engineer Isaac Tarus, has defended the company, saying the Seven Forks Dam's reservoir is currently below its maximum capacity of 1,056 meters above sea level.
At its full supply level, the level rises to 1056.5, and at that point, it will spill. But as we see now, the current water level now is 1042.67, which way below the spillway level. We still have a headroom of 13 meters.
Trevor Ngendo for Lunchtime News.
The government is working on initiatives to ensure that the benefits of artificial intelligence are maximized while mitigating potential risks. Deputy Director in the Directorate of Children's Services, Philip Nzege, has said. Frederick Woki has the details.
We have planted 2,000 as the beginning.